were duly compensated. We take note of that and we'll change that, will be duly compensated. Secondly, we've answered about the issuance of the ESIA that was issued in October, and the decommissioning has been articulated in Annex 1, 3.4 and Annex 3, 5.1. We have aligned to that, and the deposit bond, which is a regulation within the Ministry of 2024, which is mandatory. So the resources will be allocated, will be present when it comes to decommissioning. Also, we've highlighted the new technologies, and then that will be provided on site to ensure that the people of Turkana will not suffer. We have and we continue to strengthen our intergovernmental collaboration and consultation for effective implementation and protection of our environment as well as the people. And so, Honorable Beatrice Ogola, yes, we are ready. We are ready, and we will be able to support fully throughout the process.
Chair, I don't want to open it up.
Chair, I'm not opening up.
Yes.
I'm just building on to my point from the observations we got on the field. When it comes to the time you're going to do your studies, kindly limit more of government to government talking to itself about projects. So that, because we saw an overwhelming participation of the public, the expectations is massive, and if you engage the general public, the entities that are organized over environmental issues, you will be taking measures that will be saving you and us and the general public from the challenges that are going to come. Not compared to the mining of, activities that were done in Kakamega and Siaya, where government functionaries were engaging more of government and leaving people out. Make your activities more of people-centered so that we save a lot of time.
No boardrooms. You know, the government likes boardroom. The last one, and then we can release them.
Chair, now that the new technology has been discovered, what happens to the people who are affected in the absence of the technology? How will they be compensated? And Chair, when there is an issue of hazardous waste, where do the community report that issue? Where?
It's a very serious and important question. Reporting mechanisms.
Yes, we have a county director there, and we have our National Environmental Complaints Committee. So
I think what we've agreed, engage more, because basically members, what they have given us, I think they have also assisted us to have more questions to ask CAB Energy when they come here. In fact, most of the issues they have expounded on is to give us more knowledge so that when CAB Energy is here, we'll put all these things to them. They are the creators, and to follow up. But what members are saying, please be on the ground. Don't get compromised. Cecilia, maybe the last one, and then I can close.
Yes, Chair, you are very right that they are like an eye-opener to us so that we will know how to handle Gulf when they are here. But at the same time, they should also take our concerns so that they know the fears that we have, because Gulf is an infestor. Then NEMA and ministry are government. So the Turkana people are looking upon the government, not the investor. The investor is there to make his profits and move. So it is the government to stand in for the people. It is the government to stand for the rights of the Turkana people. So you have taken our fears, our concerns. It is you to make them good so that when you engage with the investor, you just find a middle ground for all of us. Thank you.
But we don't want to see similar issues that happened in Makueni. You know what is happening there. Consra, yes.
That's all right that what Cecily is saying. I think it is important because you see when we are talking about an investor and the ministry being on the ground or government being on ground, I think it is important for you to synthesize the people to get to know actually who is who. Because you see, when we say there's a director, and if that director is not known, you see, normally we always say we know where a police station is. But when the director of NEMA is not known where he stays, where he operates, and how we can get in touch with him, then it becomes difficult. Second, you said there's a committee. That committee also needs to be made clear to the people so that they know who are these committee members who can actually take responsibility in the event there's an issue. Because you see, sometimes it becomes so difficult, and you know how people do behave, our people. So try to assist them as much as they can, because you see, always they fear. They get a problem and they don't want to report because they don't know who to report to. So just make it clear to them. With the investor, I think that one is a different issue altogether. Thank you.
Where is the office of NEMA in Turkana, in Lodwar?
Honorable Chair, it is in Lodwar town, located specifically in the office of KFS. That's where we are located. Actually, we are sharing the offices with KFS within the office of the county commissioner. Yes.
You know, we also need offices in where the operations are happening. You know, you cannot have offices in Lodwar town, which is how many kilometers from Lokijar? 90. I mean, you need to, the director should be based where the real issues are, unless you want them to engage with the county commissioner and the governor, and not the people.
And Honorable Chair, I think now this is the opportunity to request, because we need budget, we need resources for us to be able to go down even to sub-county levels. So if you can consider that, then we'll be able to ensure we are impacting to the last mile.
Members of the National Assembly, the budget holders,
But Chair, you've given them a good suggestion that going forward they should have a satellite office on that site in Ngamia Wells. You should have a satellite office so that complaints and concerns are reported daily, and you are coordinating at the national level. It will be very easy.
you don't even need additional resources. You can move the fellow in Lodwar to that particular place. Yeah, you know, the director doesn't mean you are supposed to be physically somewhere. You can go to...
But Chair is dealing with all the environmental issues. It's not only about the oil. Or the
now, but that is the major thing now.
Yeah.
That is the major thing for Turkana. So, members, I think we can close. Yes.
Is there a timeline within which they are supposed to report the agent?
So we have to approve the field development plan first. You know, it's upon us first, and then now we can... They still report to us. You know, they're going nowhere. Good, thank you very much. CS and your team, you may now leave and control of budget and take charge to do your presentation. And I believe yours is not too big.
We shall see.
Good.
So, thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members. As they leave, so I'm here now, Chairman.
You are there.
Thank you.
You have come to Senate many times. You have been to also television many times, even National Assembly. We don't want you to tell us about your background and anything else. Just go straight to what we requested.
Okay.
Yeah, so that we can save on time.
So we'll then move to page 4 of my presentation, and to acknowledge that this report is in response to your letter that I received on the 3rd of February 2026 that gave me a list of 5 issues that I'm going to address today. So just to bring ourselves to speed, my first responsibility is to highlight the mandate of the Office of the Control of Budget in the context of the FDP and PCS, citing similar or best practices in comparable jurisdictions to indicate how the Control of Budget will oversee the sharing and utilization of the petroleum product revenues accruing to the national and county governments as well as the local communities. Thirdly, to explain the reporting strategies and readiness to regularly apprise Parliament and county assemblies as far as the arrangements of the crude oil exports are concerned. And fourth, to indicate the lessons learned from previous oil pilot schemes in Kenya as far as my office is concerned. And lastly, to provide any legislative gaps and policy proposals regarding the receipt, accountability, and the budgeting of oil revenues and profit share arising from the crude oil and the development and exports. So the first area that I'll be covering is that of the mandate of the Control of Budget. Our review of the field development plan and the sharing contracts for the blocks T7 and T7 in South Lokcha Basin does not anywhere identify the Control of Budget as a stakeholder. Honorable Chair and members, so we were a bit surprised. The Joint Committee needs to note that the Control of Budget's office is assigned the following mandate under the Constitution of Kenya. One is the oversight role, and this requires the COB to oversee the implementation of the national and county government budgets as per Article 228(4) of the Constitution. This role involves the monitoring of the use of public funds and reporting to Parliament on the utilization. The responsible accounting officer, therefore, would need to provide reports in line with the law to enable the Control of Budget to oversee the project. The second role is the controlling role, where my office authorizes withdrawals from public funds, namely the consolidated fund that is under Article 206, the county revenue funds under Article 207, and the equalization fund under Article 204. In so doing, the Control of Budget must be satisfied that each withdrawal is lawful and compliant with Article 228(5) of the Constitution. So the national government's share of petroleum revenues shall be deposited into a dedicated petroleum fund. In setting up this fund, there would be a section detailing the role of the COB in the management of this fund. Thirdly, and very important, is the reporting role. The Control of Budget prepares statutory reports quarterly, annually, and especially on budget implementation, both at national and county levels, as required under Article 2286 and Sections 9 and 10 of the Control of Budget Act of 2016. These reports are based on self-reported data. Subsequently, the Control of Budget carries out monitoring and evaluation visits to verify the self-reported information from the entities. These reports enhance transparency and accountability in the management of public finances. Consequently, the controller budget should authorize the withdrawal of funds from public funds before utilization by either the national government or the respective county government. This authorization is in line with Article 2285 of the Constitution. The other mandate of overseeing budget implementation would then follow, leading to reporting to Parliament on the utilization of the petroleum proceeds. How will the control of budget then oversee the sharing and utilization of petroleum revenues accruing to the national and county governments as well as the local communities? When we reviewed the production sharing contracts, we found out that the government's share of revenue starts at 50% during the initial production phase and is scheduled to rise to 75% when production reaches its peak, which is expected to be 150,000 barrels per day. The contractor takes the remainder after the costs. Section 58 of the Petroleum Act of 2019 provides the revenue sharing framework for petroleum revenue proceeds. It provides that the national government's share of the profits derived from the upstream petroleum operations shall be apportioned between the national government, the county government, and the local communities as follows: 75% to the national government, 20% to the Turkana County government, and 5% to the local host community. Further, Section 57(1) of the Act provides that the national government's share of petroleum revenues before the imposition of taxes shall be deposited into a dedicated petroleum fund and managed in accordance with the PFM Act of 2012. This act prescribes that the local community's share shall be payable to a trust fund managed by a board of trustees established by the county government in consultation with the local community. This is covered in Section 58(3). This act expects the county government to legislate the establishment of a board of trustees to ensure the prudent utilization of the funds received for the benefit of present and future generations. In setting up this fund, we expected to see, Honorable Chair, because this was missing, a section detailing the role of the control of budget. In addition, it should specify that the fund's administrator would submit quarterly reports to the control of budget. Indeed, the control of budget should play a critical role in overseeing the sharing and utilization of petroleum revenues accruing to the national and county governments. Article 2284 of the Constitution of Kenya mandates the control of budget to oversee the implementation of national and county government budgets. This is achieved by authorizing withdrawals from public funds, especially the Consolidated Fund, the County Revenue Funds, and the Equalization Fund, only if they have been permitted by law. So this office, that is the office of the COB, is responsible implement any lessons learned. Nevertheless, I note that the issue of revenue sharing framework, previously unclear during the pilot, has since been addressed in the Petroleum Act. I therefore recommend development of further guidelines to clearly define the activities to be financed from petroleum proceeds and their accounting, to ensure that such funds are allocated to specific, well-defined programs. What legislative gaps and policy proposals regarding the receipt, accountability, and budgeting of oil revenues and profit share arising from crude oil development and export can be recommended? Now, my office identified the following, which is not exhaustive. But number one, we noted lack of transparency, as there is limited disclosure of the petroleum agreements, including details of the product sharing contracts, and which we felt hampers public accountability and undermines openness. So this requires more sensitization. We observed weak oversight on community royalties, where there is lack of precise mechanisms for monitoring the 5% share of the royalties intended for the local communities. This ensures that the 5% local community share is managed via a legally constituted, locally appointed board of management to prevent misuse. Honorable Chair, this is a major risk where the funds can just get lost. We also saw a gap in terms of ring fencing of revenue proceeds, as there is currently no legal mechanism to safeguard oil revenues for future generations, as such proceeds may be applied to immediate operational expenditures. And yet we are aware that this is a resource which is definite. It will end and future generations may not benefit. We saw a gap in terms of unclear revenue sharing structure, and this relates to the exact mechanism for the county government spending of their share of revenues, as it is inadequately defined in the current law. So I'm hoping that the regulations will expand on this. Now, finally, is on the role of the control of budgets, and we have seen that the mandate of the COB in authorizing withdrawal of funds from the oil revenue arising from the crude oil activities should be provided clearly in the Petroleum Act and the regulations to avoid some of the risks that are imminent. Honorable Chair and members, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. for your presentation. Colleagues, let's ask questions, comments. First, thank you, Senator Mungatana. And then Beatrice, Lameren,
Thank you, Chair.
Charles, and myself.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I must thank the Controller of Budget. Every time I see her take the floor, I admire the way she goes into details and into issues. I wish we could also add into her powers the power to prosecute, because if that one was there, I think these governors would not be giving us those kind of statements they were giving yesterday. So anyway, Constitution doesn't allow that for now. But I wanted you to just note a few things so that you can help us. The reason we are gathered here is so that we can make a decision whether to approve or disapprove the field development plan that has been presented to us and I'm sure you have a copy of it. We had a chance to listen to the experts who came before us, and one of them said that the Uganda Petroleum Authority has auditors who have powers to walk in and check if you are a person who is supposed to be working there and you are from outside, watu wa kutoka nje wanaitwa nini? An expatriate, and actually your work can be done by a local Ugandan. The auditor has power to order somebody
twende. Sawa DP. Sawa. Nenda imeng'ara. Sasa join kudos kidogo mkienda na yeye. Eric, mbona upigi picha bana? Ndio makosa.